Today's May 1st, and Mark and Nicole will be sharing about their mission trip to Haiti.
You ready? Okay. Mark and I are going to share about our trip to Haiti. We got back last Saturday, so we were here for Easter. And we want to say thank you for affording us the opportunity to go, because I have like $8 million in student loans, and he's not so much, but he's got his own thing. So we wouldn't have been able to go without you. And your prayer support was extremely important and appreciated, because there was a couple snafus, but there was no big incident. That was kind of scary. So we thank you for your support. Mark's gonna tell you a little bit about what we did, and then I'm gonna talk about some mushy stuff. And we hope that we can express exactly the things that happened. Like, I hope that it makes sense. And there's pictures out on the wall back there by the Live the Story, Tell the Story banner. I have a lot more pictures. If you want to see them, I can bring more. I don't know. I didn't do it. So, but there's pictures out there. Make sure you stop and look at them. And if you want to see more, just let me know.
We went to Haiti, and we worked on a school, and it was this project called the Griffin Project, and it was attached to the one church down there. And we did a lot of manual labor, a lot of painting, a lot of like tedious, like scraping the floors and hard work stuff. And it was really hard, and it was really hot, and it was tiring, and we worked like 10-hour days and got like a half-hour break, and it wasn't fun, but it was, I don't know, it was an experience. And we got to work with a lot of the natives there, and we got to work beside them. And we also got to see all of the little children that go to the school, and even the ones that don't go to the school that just kind of hang out there. And
he's funny. Thank you. The school that we worked on is a compassion school, so all of the kids that go there are sponsor kids. And we worked alongside Ian and Alice Van Norman, who are from Canada. They own Canadian Tire, and they have devoted their retirement to building schools and other organizations. I Googled them, and it turns out that they are crazy down there. Like, they're doing things with hospitals, which is a definite need. They're doing things with different schools, which is a definite need. So they've just devoted their retirement to Haiti. They live there about 6 or 9 months out of the year. They go home for summers and holidays. And Larry and Alice Judy, who are in charge of FOHO, the Friends of Haiti organization, which is a Free Methodist thing in Haiti, they are both retired also, and they have also devoted their lives to Haiti. And both of those couples started out just like we did. We went for a week. So they led a group for a week, and then they loved it so much that they went back for 2 weeks, and then they loved it so much that they started staying for a month, and then eventually they started staying there for the whole winter, and now they stay there for almost the whole year, except when it's like 130, they come home because they can't handle it. They're sissies. Also, it's very hot down there. So they come home for summers and to snuggle grandbabies and for holidays. But other than that, they live in Haiti, and all they do is help people like us come in and work with them. So we got the school's almost finished. The pastor was able to move in this past week, which is awesome. It's their first appointed pastor at this church, which is a huge blessing. They're going to have their conference there this year, which is a huge blessing. They've never had a conference there because the church hasn't been big enough to need one, but now it is, which is great. So the pastor's house is very nice, and it is finished. The kids are meeting in the school. So it's awesome. We did exactly what we were hoping to accomplish, and both of those families are coming home for the summer next week. So they were all excited. We were all excited. They're really great people. I want to read this to you, and then I'm going to talk to you about some of the stuff that we saw, some of the things that are happening in Haiti. But I'm going to read to you from John chapter 1, verses 1 through 5. I was reading through the Gospels while we were in Haiti. I finished Luke and started reading John, and this made a lot of sense to me. So it says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came into being through him, and without him not one thing came into being. What has come into being in him was life, and the life was the light of all people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it." So Haiti is crazy. It's like this huge contradiction all the time. Like everywhere you look, it's a contradiction. There's this beautiful coast, and there's the Caribbean, and it's this blue-green water. There's some pictures of that back there, and it's gorgeous. And there's these sandy beaches, and they're gorgeous, and there's this beach house that we went to. So then, on the outside, it looks gorgeous. It's beautiful. But then you start swimming, and you realize that there's garbage in the water everywhere. And you start walking along the shore, and you notice there's garbage everywhere. And you hop into the beach house, and you realize there's a chicken living in the kitchen. Like, he's still clucking. Not like when we put chicken in our kitchen. Like, he still has a beak. And he's just hanging out in there. It's a contradiction. And we were driving up the mountains. And the first thing I noticed before we even landed, because I've flown over some mountains in my day, and I've spent some time in some pretty crazy mountains, like the Rockies and the Andes in South America. But when you fly over them, they're beautiful. But in Haiti, they're just brown. There's all these brown mountains. Like, I expected to look down and see just green everywhere, because there's mountains that separate Haiti from the Dominican. But it looked brown from the airplane, and when you're in the mountains, it's a little prettier, but when you're looking down, it's disgusting. But it should be beautiful. It's this contradiction. People took all the trees out to make money, and now it's deforested. So there's something that should be beautiful, but it's not. And Haiti is a city full of, or this country full of these beautiful people. Like, you should see some of the pictures I gave the kids. There's this one little girl, she's got fat little cheeks, little cow dress, and she's all pouty, like she's beautiful. But she's bathing in a mud puddle. And in Griffin, there's this camp around the school that USAID put up, which is good because all these people were living in tents. But they don't have water, so there's these wells every so often, and you're driving by, and at the well, you'll find adults and children bathing, and you'll also see goats and pigs and chickens and cows and cattle and horses and donkeys and little stray dogs everywhere. Like, it's just a mess. And there's these beautiful people living in this really terrible situation. It's a contradiction. And it's this really dark place, which it's not dark because of the poverty. Like, I expected to see poverty because 75% of the people there live on less than $2 a day. And everybody knows that Haiti's the most impoverished country on this side of the world. And it's not that. I wasn't looking at it thinking, well, I have this big American dream, like they should have 2.5 kids and picket fences. Like, I don't even want that. And it wasn't about them being poor, it was about the way that they live their lives. It's just sad. There's people, if you wave at them, they will either wave at you, try to sell you a chicken, or they will flip you off. And you never know what you're gonna get. And there's kids that come up to the car and they beg for money. And this kid over here, one of the first things they tell us is don't give people money, because if you start handing out cash, you're gonna get mobbed. And the traffic does not move fast there. So we're at a stoplight, or we're stopped in traffic, and this cute little scrappy kid comes up to the car and says, $1, I'm hungry. I think it's all the English he knew. And Mark was like, no, which is what we were supposed to do. The kid pinched him. Like, he just reaches up and pinches him, which was funny, but it's sad, right? You shouldn't be pinching strangers in the back of a truck because you're so desperate for money. It's just sad. And the way that they live their lives, the government doesn't care about education, so all the schools come from churches because the government is so corrupt that they just don't care. And we went to this mass grave site, which was actually pretty beautiful, except it was really sad. There's so many people that passed away in the earthquake that the bodies were just lining the streets and they didn't know what to do with them, so they piled them up in a truck and they just took them to a mass grave. It's on the side of this barren field, And you walk in, or you walk up to it, and there's all these little black crosses everywhere. And it was sad, and it was really tragic, but it was beautiful because somebody cared enough about the people that died to build a grave for them. Even if it was just a mass grave and they're unmarked, except with a cross, nobody knows who's in there. But it's something beautiful that they did, and I don't know who was in charge of it. I'm assuming it was part of the church. I don't think that, St. Christopher something, blah, 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 I don't remember. I should probably Google that and be more informative. Sorry, but it was this really beautiful thing that somebody thought to do. In the midst of all this tragedy, there was something beautiful. And we were on our way home from the beach, which was beautiful. We had a good day, snorkeling, fish, glorious, awesome afternoon. And we were in the car with Larry. And Larry's been in and out of the country for 30 years, and he's been there for the last year and a half-ish since the earthquake. And we started talking about the schools and how they were so corrupt, and we started talking about the Dominican and how it doesn't like Haiti because the Haitians are so uncivilized. And then he started talking, he showed us things like there's this charred cross that was used for animal sacrifices for the people that practice voodoo there, which is a huge issue. When we were leaving church one Sunday, we came upon this parade of people, and we didn't know what it was, but Larry said that they were doing a voodoo parade. And there was somebody that would walk back and forth by our building every morning and chant. And I don't know what they were saying, but I don't think they were blessing us. And so there's just stuff that goes on there that's crazy that we can't understand. And so we were driving back, and he was pointing out all this stuff, and he was telling us all these tragic stories about the government. And he started talking about these little slaves, which ruined my life, and I think it ruined Mark's life a little bit. There's these things, there's these little kids, they're called Restiviks, and there's 300,000 of them in Haiti. And they're slaves, and they're all children, all kids. And they're a status symbol. People have them, all people have them, not just the people with money, but even the poor people have them, because say I'm a poor Haitian and I want a slave. So I go up to Mark, who's a lady in this scenario, and I say, Mark, you have Margarita, you have 14 children, or 10 children, or 3 children, and you can't feed them, but if you give me your child, I'll take him, make sure he goes to school, make sure he gets fed. So then Mark, being so desperate because of this Margarita, being so desperate because of the situation that she's in, says, well, you can have my son, or you can have my daughter. And then these little children get taken, and they're forced to cook and clean, and they're beaten, and they're whipped, and they're raped. And parents are just giving their kids away. And they know this is going on, the government knows it's going on, and nobody stops it because they're so broken that no one cares. And so you have a 3-year-old who's out cooking over an open flame, and nobody's doing anything because it's so broken. You have all these beautiful children that are being turned into slaves. And it's just this contradiction everywhere. There's so much potential there for great things. And Haiti used to be something great. He was telling us that back before things got really corrupt, it was this beautiful, beautiful place that people wanted to go because it was a tourist mecca. Because really, you can get from the coast to the top of the mountain in an afternoon. So you could spend the morning at the beach, and then you could take the afternoon and stop in the city and do some shopping, kind of. And then you could drive to the top of the mountain, and you could spend a whole day doing nothing but looking at beautiful things. But it's so corrupt that nobody wants to go there. And so while we were there, hearing about these little slaves and hearing about people dying in earthquakes, and about how the government is just taking money from people, and how there's like 50% of the kids there die before they hit a year old because they are malnourished, or they die from tetanus because they don't even have antibiotics there. Cookie said that if you take somebody to the hospital to have a baby, that you have to take your own medication because they don't have any. And they don't have any tools, they don't have anything that they need, so it's easier just to not go. So you have all these people that are dying. And that kind of messed with me a little bit, right? I was really prepared. Like, I read a lot and I looked at a lot of pictures and I talked to a lot of people, so I was feeling really brave, like I could master it. But I kind of fell apart because I think you can only sort of see that or be in that sort of darkness for so long before it starts to mess with you. So while we were there, I kind of had a rough time with it, and I started asking God why. Like, why are these people so poor? Why don't they see the potential that they have? Why can't they pull it together enough to fix this place? Why are parents giving away their children to be slaves? Why, after all of that, because that was all happening 20 years ago. That's not something that happened after the earthquake. That's all stuff that was there already. Why, after everything, after all of those people are suffering and starving and dying, why would you let an earthquake hit someplace like this? They have no way to recover from that. And I have no idea. Like, he didn't tell me. Surprise. Like, God didn't tell me. He didn't say, well, this is why I did it. But I do know this. There are people, there's these little shiny lights that are so full of Jesus in Haiti. There's these people like Larry and Ian and Alice and Pastor William, who's the principal of the school. There's this little boy there. He was so cute, and there's a picture of him in the back. He doesn't have any arms. He was born without arms, and so he's a sponsor kid. He goes to school, but all the kids pick on him. And so the kids were kind of picking on him, and it was 103 million degrees, and it was hot. And Pastor William, who is the principal and a pastor, he took this little boy over to the lady that sells drinks by the school, and he bought him a little bag of water. They have bags of water. It's really weird. And he gave it to him, and he was helping him drink the water because this little boy couldn't do it by himself. And it was so sad, but it was so precious because Pastor William is treating this kid like he means the world. And he's treating him with all of this love and respect that most people don't get there. And then this other guy, Pastor John Mark, he's like my hero. He's educated, which is a really big deal in Haiti. Most people aren't. He's working on his PhD right now. He preached at church. He's not the pastor of the church. He's the pastor of all of the churches. He kind of oversees them. He preached a sermon, and he said that even when things are going bad, even when you're having a rough time, that God is still there. Jesus doesn't leave you. It's not because the lack of Jesus. That's not why bad things happen. Bad things just happen, but even in those, Jesus is still there, which was kind of awesome to hear somebody from Haiti who lived through this awful earthquake, who lived in all this poverty. Even the school that we built doesn't have running water, really, and it doesn't have electricity. And he grew up in this situation, and he's standing up in front of a group of people, and he's saying, just because bad things are happening doesn't mean that God's not here. And so I was asking myself why, and I was seeing all these little bright, shiny lights, all these people, Larry and Alice and Ian and Alice and Pastor William and Pastor John Mark and Rick and Cookie, who are awesome. There's all these people there that are doing God's work. And the last day that we were at Griffin, I totally scored big and everybody else missed out, and I kind of feel bad about that. There was a baptism service, and I don't know what everybody else was doing, but I was like determined that I was going to watch these 21 Haitians get baptized. Like, it was going to happen, and it did. They were sitting out there, and I could see them through the window, but I wasn't moving, so they missed it, and I was selfish. But these 21 Haitians, they grew up in this situation, and it's such a cultural thing, this voodoo. They dedicated their whole country to Satan. And out of this, there's 21 people that are standing up in front of this church full of people, singing these beautiful songs and being baptized. And they were all wearing white, and it was this really beautiful ceremony. And I was like, you know what? This is what it's about. Like, these little bright lights, these people all wearing white getting baptized, and these pastors that are devoting themselves and their lives to making a difference here. There's these little bright lights, and you could see Jesus shining in their faces. You could just see God's love, the way that they talk to the kids, because the reality is, not everyone there is so friendly. The kids are a little bit rough, not like a little rough like our kids here. I mean, the little boys go up and try to touch like all of us. They treat us like we're just an object to be had. And the men there, They don't have respect for women. And the people there don't have respect for each other, and they don't have respect for the earth, and they don't have respect for the church, and they don't have respect for the buildings. You can see it everywhere. There's garbage and filth. And this one guy, every day we would walk back and forth, or he would be walking up the highway completely naked, just cruising up down Port-au-Prince streets. They don't have respect and dignity like we have here. It's just really broken. But in the middle of all of that, you could see these little specks of shininess, because there's people that are saying, you know what? When you paint the door, I want you to paint it perfectly. And if it's anything less than perfect, I don't want you to do it. And so incidentally, half of the team got kicked off the painting squad. But you guys will be happy to know that we did not, because we were paint rock stars. But they have this mentality, the people that are there helping, they have this mentality that if you're not going to do it right, then don't do it. And just because it's Haiti doesn't mean that it shouldn't be great. And so they were just constantly saying, that's not good enough. And it was a little discouraging. But if you take a minute and you think about it, what could be more awesome than somebody advocating greatness for a country where there's no greatness? And so there's these people and all of this darkness. And we got to be a part of that for a week. We got to go and we got to work. And Mark's right, like, it wasn't fun at all. We laughed a little bit. Who could not laugh when it's like you laugh or you cry, and there was a lot of funny moments. Like, we laughed, but it wasn't fun. Like, we didn't have a great time. I'm not going to scrapbook about it with big smiley faces everywhere. And even when we were laughing, it was like there was this just cloud of darkness because of the way the country is. And so while I did have some fun, and while I do love to snorkel, I discovered, and I don't know, there was fun moments, but it wasn't fun. We didn't have a good time, and it was hard work, and there was a lot of times when we were all just like, I'm done, like, I can't. And that's what I said at the end of the trip, when I was falling apart. I just kept saying, like, I'm done, I got nothing left, I have nothing left. But we got to be a part of this little sparkly moment. And I believe that, though I don't know why God lets bad things happen, and I don't know why God let a big earthquake happen, I don't know why people give away their children. I can't even fathom how desperate you must be to do that. I do know that God is in Haiti because he's in Alice and Larry and Alice and Ian and Pastor William and Pastor John Mark. And I do know that that the Bible tells us that the light that God gives us, the true life that he gives us when we believe in him, that can't be overcome by darkness. And I believe that as long as there's people there working, like Ian and Alice and Larry and William and John Mark, I believe that God will still be there. And so I think that since we just got done with Easter, and you guys know that Jesus died and conquered death, and then he rose again, and now he redeems us, I really believe that God can redeem Haiti. Like, I think that he has a plan for Haiti, and I don't know what it is, and I can't even imagine how long it's going to take to fix that country. And not fix it by some American standard, but fix it by God's standards. But I could say the same thing about our country. It's more visible there. And I don't know what it's going to take, but I do know that someday it's going to be beautiful again. And God has a plan for it. And someday people are going to be able to look at Haiti and they're going to want to go there because it's going to be so awesome. And we can sit here and we can say, you know what? It's because of people like William and John Mark and Larry and Alice. And it's because they had this little light that wouldn't die. And it's because of people like our church. You guys were awesome. You sent us. And people like Yorkshire Church, they sent people that are obedient to what God's calling us to. And I think that someday when Haiti's beautiful, we can look at it and we can say, God did that, and God's going to be glorified in the work that he does there. So we thank you for the opportunity to go. I'm going to take a minute just to pray for Haiti, and then we're going to sing a little ditty, and then I'm going to pray some more because it's my thing. And we're going to be done. But if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Mark, you can ask Mark. You can ask me. We will tell you. I don't think that we can really express exactly what happened or how we feel. I don't think that there's words, but we will do our best. And like I said, there's pictures in the back. You can look at them, they're on the wall. I can make CDs if you want copies of them. I was gonna make a slideshow, but I didn't feel right about it. So, like I said, just ask if you have a question, and we do appreciate all of your support. So let's pray. God, I thank you again for the opportunity to go to Haiti. I thank you that of all the people in the whole world, you chose us to go. And I know that there's people that probably could have done better. And I thank you for choosing us. And I thank you for this family, this body, this church that we have, that they supported us. I thank you that you put it in their hearts too, that it wasn't just about Mark and myself and the group from Warsaw, but it was about your body going, and we're just parts of it. So I thank you. I pray especially for Larry and Alice and for Ian and Alice, and I thank you that they've devoted their lives to Haiti and to you. I thank you that you gave them a heart for the people there, and that I think that it reflects your heart. I pray that as they come home to spend the summer with their families, that they would have safe travels, that you would give them a time of rest, that you would help them to get focused again, to get rested, so when they go back in the fall that they could do all the things that you're calling them to. And I pray for all the churches here that are thinking, gee, I wonder if we should send someone to Haiti, or I wonder, if it's worth it. I pray that you would move in their hearts, that people here would see that there's still such a big need there. And really, it's just miles away, but they're still our family because they're still children of yours. I pray that you would help people here to remember them, even though the earthquake was over a year ago and people are starting to forget what a tragedy it was. I pray that you would still break people's hearts for that country. And I pray for Pastor William as he deals with all of those kids everywhere. There's kids everywhere. I pray that you would help him to love each of them the way that you do. I pray that you would bless his life. And for John Mark, I pray the same thing, that as he oversees the churches, that you would give him a vision, that you would help him to be bold, that he would go and do the things that you're calling him to. And as he starts getting together his mission team to go to Honduras, I pray for the Haitians that are going. I pray that you would help them to do their best work for the people in Honduras. And I thank you that out of such a sad, broken country, that you would call people to go and minister in other parts of the world. I think that's brilliant. I pray that you would watch over Haiti, all of the kids that are slaves. I pray that you would help them to know that someone loves them. I pray that you would help find a solution, that you would give people a vision to save them. That we wouldn't just hear a number 300,000, but we would see little pudgy Haitian faces, that we would be able to feel something for them, something that would affect change in our lives, that we would be able to do something to change their lives. And I pray that even this morning that you would give them a special touch, that they would know that you love them. I can't imagine what it would be like to be somebody's slave. I can't imagine what it would be like to feel so worthless, so lost, but I know that you could fix that. So I pray that you would help them to know that you love them. I pray for the government, the new president. I pray that you would help him to see the country as something beautiful that could be restored and not something that could be used for his own benefit. It's such an issue there. And for all of the people that were baptized on Thursday, I pray that you would be in their lives, that even though they're surrounded by such darkness, that you've given them new life, and that life won't be overcome by darkness. I pray that you would help them to be bold and to be strong and to be courageous in their situations. Pray that you would help us to love them the way that you love them. And I pray all these things in Jesus' name.